Hi, I'm David. And I'm David. See what I did there? Sarah is out of town this week, so it's just me recapping Wednesday and Thursday's episode of Big Brother, but we are going to talk about Angela's HOH and then get into some spoilers for the upcoming episode. In Wednesday's episode, we left off with Angela putting Haley and Fessy on the block next to each other. Huge move, right? They're this romantic duo. Everybody knows they're showmans, so they need to get one of them out. Haley thinks she's the target right off the bat. Fessy's not so convinced, and then we see Fessy and Haley in bed together, and Fessy just Cam talks his disaster of a game. All of a sudden, everything has come to him and he totally understands everything that has happened in the past few weeks about how Rockstar gave the answer to Tyler in the veto ceremony, and then he won the veto, and then he sent Scotty out on his HOH, just like laying out every single bad move they've made over the past 3 weeks, which was hilarious. Then he's in the shower talking to JC, and he really makes a convincing argument to JC about the hierarchy of level 6 and why JC kind of needs to keep him in the house or stick with him and be loyal to him, because he's right the way he says it. He says there's Angela and Tyler and Casey and Brett, and then at the bottom of that side of the house, it's you and Sam. So Sam's gonna go first, and then it's gonna be you, JC, and what are you gonna do then? JC that gives him a lot to think about, right? He doesn't really know how to handle this information. He's kind of like, let's talk about it later. But Fessy, at this point, understands everything that is happening in the house, but it's just too little too late. So then they go into the veto competition. Of course, Angela and Fessy and Haley are playing, and then they've also picked Casey, JC, and Sam to play this veto. This veto competition was hilarious. They had all this slow-mo footage. They're getting slimed with all this goo, and they have to catch these balls out of the air, right? The slow-mo footage was hilarious. The first one was so impossible because they're getting sprayed with all this slime and it's covering their mask that's over their eyes, and no one can see where the ball is. Nobody catches a ball in the first round, I think, except for Fessy. Then in the second one, it's raining on them. Casey is like a beast in the second one. I think she caught every single ball that was fired at her. She caught one with one hand, which was crazy. In the third stage of the competition, they are dropping these squid things from the ceiling. I don't know where they're coming from, and they have to catch them in their mouths with no hand. It looked so disgusting with all the slime getting all over their face. I guess it must not have tasted too bad because nobody was like gagging or anything, but it was just so gross to see the things like flop all over their face. But Casey and Fessy were the two who did the best out of everybody. That makes sense, right? Because they're both football players and they're both very athletic. Then we get into the veto results. Sure enough, it's a barn burner. It comes down to Fessy and Casey beats him by 1 point, which I think we might have spoiled in the last video. We get to see that play out live. Fessy is like totally salty about it because it's such a close comp. Casey wins the veto. Now I think everybody sort of understands that nominations are gonna stay the same. They haven't done the ceremony yet, but it's pretty clear. Casey is in an alliance with Angela, so she's gonna keep noms the same. Haley is starting to play the game, right? She understands she's left on the block, but if Fessy is the target and he gets voted out, she's gotta position herself well with the rest of the house and try to work her way through this, even though she's sort of on an island at this point once Fessy's gone. So she's sort of socializing with the level 6 side of the house and being friends with them, and this is just making Fessy very upset because he wants to be spending time with her. If this is their last week in the house together, why isn't she spending this time with him? And it's making him question everything. Was their relationship just part of the game? Is this real? Are they going to be together outside of the house? So he's very upset. Haley is also upset because she's like, I'm trying to like continue to play Big Brother. This is how it goes. And he's not really buying that. So she's upset, and then Brett goes and kind of cozies up to Haley, and I think Fessy kind of sees them in the backyard together, and that just pisses him off even more. Then at the end of Wednesday's episode is the veto ceremony. Casey, sure enough, does not use the veto. She keeps noms the same. So that is where we are at the end of Wednesday's episode, and then Tyler also says that his cloud app is now gone. So he's gone the entire 8 weeks with his cloud app. He hasn't had to use it. That is such good gameplay for him, and if he makes it to final 2 and gets to drop that in his final speech, that he had this power app the whole game and never had to use it, that's gonna be good for him. So then moving on to Thursday's episode. This is the live eviction episode. We sort of see, before the eviction, we see a little bit of like strategy and game talk and this and that. Fessy's still upset about Haley and he doesn't know if their relationship is real. Then we see Brett starting to make a final 2 deal with Tyler, and I think this is the last final 2 that Tyler probably has to make in the house. He probably has a final 2 with every single person in the house at this point. and nobody seems to know. But Brett wants to, seal this final 2 with Tyler just to solidify his position in this level 6 alliance because he's feeling like he's sort of at the bottom of the pecking order. So we see that happening, and Brett kind of calls out the Tangela showmance, and he's saying like, Tyler, don't let this ruin your game. So they're sort of a final 2 at this point. I think Tyler will take whatever final 2 is going to get him to the final 2, but Brett thinks that he's all set now with Tyler as his final 2. So we see all that, but the meat of the episode is this live eviction and now the jury battle back that we knew was coming, and we did see some of the house guests speculating that that might be happening this week. We saw Brett talking a lot about like, well, now there's going to be 4 members of the jury, so maybe this week is the battle back. Turns out he's right. So I think they were a little more prepared for it than we've seen in previous seasons. The live eviction happens. Fessy gives his speech first, and he tries to put Angela on blast. He calls out that, she's in this alliance, but she has been bragging that she's got the guys wrapped around her finger, and she's got them whipped, and she can bully them into doing whatever she wants them to do. He calls her out for wearing a fake engagement ring, sort of calling her privileged. I think he's just trying to put whatever target he can on Angela on his way out the house, because obviously she's the HOH who gets him evicted, and he wants to, make sure that she follows him out of the house. So his speech is pretty savage towards Angela, and she just sort of like takes it with like, okay. Then Haley gives her speech, and she's just as sweet as Haley can be, and she just tells everybody how happy she is to have met them, and Julie, you look gorgeous, and I would love to stay here and, continue to play this game. One of those like typical Big Brother speeches that we hear all the time. Then they vote. It is 4-1. Fessy gets voted out. Sam is the only vote for Haley, which I was not surprised by because we all know that Sam has a thing against Haley ever since she was HOH and put Haley on the block. Fessy is out of the house. He goes and does his interview with Julie. Then she reveals that he has a second chance, right? He has this jury battle back option, and he might be going right back into the house. He's of course overwhelmed. Then we get to see our first jury check-in. So we go to the jury house, we see Bailey there by herself, and then Rockstar shows up and plays her tape for Bailey, and then Scotty shows up. They're shocked that Scotty is there, and he's like, I don't even know what happened, let me just show you the video. And they're all just sort of laughing at the way they got manhandled in this game, basically, because they're just like, Rockstar has to play this veto competition for Bailey where she's giving Tyler the right answers, and Bailey can hardly believe it. She's like, Rockstar, are you kidding me? Like, she has no mercy for Rockstar. Clearly Rockstar is going to be haunted by this forever, and Bailey just like drives home the point that she was a fool. We see all the 3 of them, and then they get notified about this battle back competition as well. They go to the commercial, we come back, and Bailey, Scotty, and Rockstar are in the backyard. Julie asks them who they think the next jury member is. They're all hopeful that it's Tyler or Angela. Then they see Fessy come out, and it's so funny to see Fessy just like with his tail between his legs. The first thing he says is like, I'm so sorry, Scotty, because he has now realized that Scotty was on his side of the house and he evicted him. So he's apologizing to Scotty, and he's like, I'm so stupid, and they're all sort of laughing about it. Then the battle back competition is one that we see a lot on Big Brother, where they have to grab their colored balls and then drop the balls into the cylindrical tube, and whoever gets 4 first wins. I thought Fessy was gonna get it because he was bending almost completely over the fence, and like his whole body was hanging over, and he's like a big guy, so he seemed to have a little bit of an advantage, could get his arm almost all the way down to the top of the tube. He sort of got an early lead, but then Scotty just pulled it out in the end, which I said last week that I wanted Scotty to be back, and so he won the battle back. I'm very happy he's back in the house because I think he's a good player. He goes back to Julie, and she sort of asks him, what's your strategy going to be? And he says, well, I'm going to try to cozy up with Tyler, which everybody does, so I guess that's a good strategy. And then he is going to target Angela because I guess Fessy told him that Angela's this mastermind that needs to go. But then he heads into the house, and everybody's, elated. They have to pretend like they're happy to see Scotty again. They're all jumping up and down and hugging Scotty now that he's back in the house, and that is the end of Thursday's episode. We don't get to see the HOH at all. And now we can go into spoilers. It's not as fun without Sarah. The HOH competition happened. It was a Big Brother classic where they're all on the like spinning pedestals, and whoever can stay on the longest wins. Guess who wins, Tyler? I really wanted Scotty to win because I thought he would be capable of winning an HOH and sort of changing the power dynamic in the house, coming back as this returning player. But I think he was like 3rd out or something. It came down though to Tyler and Haley, and again, like when I see it play out live, I'm sure I'm going to be like, please Haley win, but she's not going to. Tyler is the new HOH, which just leaves all the power in level 6's hands, which is honestly starting to get a little bit boring, but they're just playing a great game, right? You have to give credit to this side of the house. They keep winning competitions when they need to keep the power in their hands. They're winning the hackers when they need to. They just have played a great game all season long. Now, Tyler is our second repeat HOH after Angela. This is his first time being HOH since the beginning of the season. It'll be interesting to see how everything plays out this week because Tyler is sort of playing multiple people, but the nominations happened and he put up the two people that he really doesn't have any ties to, Haley and Scotty. We all saw this coming. If anybody from level 6 was gonna win HOH, Haley and Scotty were gonna go up, but not everybody has the same target. Brett and JC want to target Scotty because, you know, he's battled his way back and he's a good player, he can win comps, this and that. He was evicted in the first place for a reason, so they just want to get him right back out, of course. But Tyler's the HOH and he sort of secretly is targeting Haley because he knows that Haley is gunning for him. And Haley, when she was the hacker, she put Tyler up as a replacement nominee, and that was sort of the first time that Tyler was on anybody's radar. He was totally coasting through the game, never was on the block until Haley put him up there. So I think he still is sort of holding a grudge with that, and he realizes that if Haley has the chance, she's going to go after him. So I think he would prefer if Haley goes home this week, but he's going to have to do some convincing of level 6 not to just get Scotty out again. That's where we are with the spoilers. It's another good week for level 6. They just have all the power whenever they want it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Tyler can get his target Haley out or if he'll have to let that wait for another week and just get Scotty out this week and sort of go with the rest of the house. Ultimately, it is not up to him because he doesn't get to vote as the HOH, or he might get to, you know, break a tie, but it looks like maybe he'll have to do some convincing to get Haley out of the house this week. That's where we are. I want to hear what you guys think. Sarah wants to know too. She's going to be monitoring the comments as well. This is a little weird without Sarah. Thank you for struggling through it with me. She'll be back and we'll have more fun together, but let us know what you guys think in the comments, who you think should go this week, who you think will go this week, and we'll see you next time.